Okay, yeah. So, hello everyone. I'm welcome to Games. And today I have a special guest with me. He is a digital creator, a artist, and the founder of Awaken Paradise. He helps people move from just living life to deep feeling. So,
I didn't get that. Couldn't hear.
uh, I'm sorry. I was
It's
saying,
okay.
how are you?
Oh yeah, I'm well. Thank you. How are you doing?
Great. So, thank you so much for coming. So, before going on a question, can you please introduce yourself?
All right. Hi, I'm Bevan Bird. I'm the founder of Awaken to Paradise and a guide of the aliveness path, which is of my own creation.
Okay, so let's move on question. So my first question in your screen, you talk a lot about aliveness and helping people return to themselves. What first lead you onto that path personally?
All right. Good question. Okay. Well, over time, I realized that certain ways of living made me feel more alive, and others slowly disconnected me from myself. I experienced that in work, in business, in relationships, and in the pressure to adapt into ways of being that didn't feel true to my nature. So I started paying attention and seeing which ways brought me back to feeling more alive. Creativity, play, being in nature, using my imagination, uh, connecting with my truth and sharing it, freedom, wonder, and curiosity, meaningful connections, and authentic expression. All these things brought me back to myself. So I kept returning to them, using them again and again. And every time I did, my life expanded. Like my energy expanded, and my imagination, my vision, and my sense of possibilities, among other things. And over time, I realized that this wasn't only personal. Many people are disconnected from themselves beneath stress, conditioning, programming, fear, over adaptation, survival, and performance. And I realized that playful creation, imagination, inner work, restorative environments, and authentic participation in life could help people reconnect with their self again. So that became the foundation of my work. And now I help people move from adapted living to authored living, being um, being a conscious participant in the creation of their life. And creating is how we remember who we are.
Okay, thanks for the answer. So, why do you think so many people feel disconnected or emotionally numb today, even like successful on the outside?
Hmm. Okay. I think from external expectations of what their life should look like. Yeah, people are often in the modern world, not all, of course, but many are often exhausted. They're compressed. They're over adapted to uh, circumstances, environments, and things that are not in alignment with them, and they're disconnected from their self and from their imagination and creativity. Right. So what we've done is created a whole bunch of ways for people to connect back to their self. The main, the three pillars of the aliveness path are the healing power of nature, playful creation, and inner work. And the inner work includes, uh, at its core, giving yourself compassion and also like forgiveness, forgiving others and forgiving yourself.
What it feel like, and how can people being reconnecting with it?
All right. Okay, well, aliveness, it's like, it's kind of like excitement. It's just feeling that there's possibilities. It's like hopeful. It's optimistic. It's feeling energy inside yourself, like an inner, sometimes referred to an inner fire. Um, yeah, back in 2023, I started a podcast uh, for a while, which was called Awaken the Fire Within. And that was a little bit after you first interviewed me. Thank you for having me back on again. Um, yeah, so when you were going to interview me that first time, right? And I was kind of excited about that, and I couldn't even sleep that, like, the night before. And I was like lying in bed in my hammock, and I started to make up a new song. And it started with I am, I am, I am. And I wrote down the words, which are lyrics, in my phone. And I still have that. It's an old phone now. I still have it. But anyway, it's in a note there. And then I grew it. I would sing it again, and I grew this song downwards, and then also I went up above, and it grew around that. And I shared it on your show. I think it was about 3 minutes, maybe 2 or 3. Later, it became 6 or 7 minutes, like as it expanded later. It's called Inspiration for Pakistan. And so that's like aliveness, because it's allowing creativity to flow through you. So that's one example. Like, it can be anything for different people. Someone might like to like dance around and stuff. Like, everybody's different, right? But they have to notice what they enjoy doing, what makes them feel alive, and then do more of that. And then, as I already said in the earlier answer about the three paths, I mean, the three pillars of the aliveness path, that's how people can do that, is start to like give yourself time in nature, and time to just play creatively every day, even if it's like 10 minutes a day, and also doing the inner work, because we may have gotten really away from who we are and judging ourselves and forcing ourselves to do things, putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, and being hard on ourselves. Like, oh, you didn't get all this done. You're trying to do all like this to-do list, and then you only got this, right? These kinds of things. So we have to let go of that and just celebrate how far we've come, and completely accept and love ourselves as we are. And then we can just allow ourselves to be free and play. And one thing that I say, and it also goes back to that time, right? In the summer of 2023, I allow my highest self to play through my human vessel. So those are some ways there.
Thank you so much for explaining this. Okay, so you combine technology, AI, creativity, and inner work in a very unique way. How do those words fit together for you?
Yeah, interesting question. Okay, well, um, one thing is that AI, or I call it DI, digital intelligence, because as opposed to our organic intelligence, it can amplify our creativity. It can help us to do things that are more meaningful, more interesting, more exciting. I recommend the book Meta Skills, 5 Talents for the Robotic Age. So it shows us that using AI and automation and things replaces different kinds of tasks, right? There's rote tasks and different things. So it pushes, I think the wording was something about it pushes value creation up, or it pushes some kind of things up the value curve. So it tells you in that book that certain things are still, of course, very valuable, and become more valuable in this age with DI, like leadership. And I could probably add to it, like discernment. So let's see how this fits together. And we haven't mentioned nature, but nature has to be in that question too, but I'm just adding it now. All right. So for example, like, I'll just tell a story about it so that it fits them together, just in an example of something I lived, right? That's a simple way to do it. Okay, so I had my computer. I automated some things on my computer to run Midjourney, which is the thing that makes AI art, right? So I can have a script that makes some prompts, which I made many of them. That was one of the things I created, not just stuff like art and stuff, but also systems for creating it, right? And experimenting with those and trying different things. So I could have it create these prompts, which you put into Midjourney, which then creates art. Just having a single prompt, you could have many different pieces of art come back and you can vary them and remix them and all that, right? But if you generate a bunch of prompts with variations in them, different colors of the clothing of the character in it, or whatever, any kind of a variation you can imagine. I'm not going to go all into that. We could do that on another time or later if there's time in this or whatever. Okay, so you generate these prompts, then automatically feed them into Midjourney, being aware of the queue, like what's the buffer, like what's available. Okay, so it feeds them in automatically. I can go out for a walk and play in nature, jump from rock to rock along the stream, the river. And one time, well, I liked what I was doing there. It was fun. That was a thing that I did in Mexico that I found, jumping from rock to rock near the ocean. But then I realized I could do that where I lived. And I based a creative haven on, which you may hear about later too, on the place that I lived. I also consider Earth, right, to be an infinite playground, as also nature is too. So anyway, I was jumping from rock to rock just because it's fun there on the bank of the Smilkameen River. And then I thought, why not make art about that too, to share that with people and to, post about it and put like a lesson of what I learned from doing that, for example, right? So then I did. So another day, I've got the computer, right, Midjourney being run automatically, making art about what I'm doing out in nature at the time I'm doing it. I come back, I can review this art, see the ones that I like best, and evolve those further. So that's an example. It's a real story. Like I live this, and I've done many other things, but that's an example that I think ties all those together.
Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. So you said you are building civilization of alignment. What does the vision actually look like?
All right. Okay, ironically, this is the one that I'm least prepared for right now. But I can tell you some things about it. Okay, so one thing is that I know that I got away from who I was. And so like doing a job called surveying, I started it in 2005. And then by 2009, once I had done like 4 years of school, post-secondary, and was now like out of school and just doing the work, then it was like, I'm ready for something new, right? I hope he's still here with us. So then it's like, I'm ready for something new, right? New challenges, new adventures, more excitement, more fun, right? Bringing more of myself into what I do. That's what I could feel, right? I could feel I'm meant for more, but I'm just kind of, I don't know, disappointed, feeling like disconnected and like numb, kind of like a robot, not super engaged in my work, just no longer challenged because you probably missed some. Were you there, or because I just saw you disappear? But did you get that part of what I was sharing, or should I go back a bit? Oh yeah, were you hearing that? I just wanted to
Yeah,
check.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. All right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I'm kind of telling a story. The point of that is to bring up the idea of a creative haven, right? So that's why I was explaining it. Okay. So I went rock climbing just for fun. I did something just for me, not what other people would want or expect, but just what I wanted to do. That's important, right? That each one of those, the DI, like a magical collaborator, right? Like AI, has suggested to me a term, high aliveness pivots, times when you decided to do something because it makes you feel more alive, right? So there's many of those. And remembering them also helps me become more alive. Remembering, oh, I chose that, right? Like recently, I decided I went out for a walk, but I didn't get very far. I didn't even get to the forest, which is a few blocks away. I got this idea like, hey, I could go and pick up my bike where I used to live because I want to ride it and it'll be fun, right? Because mostly what I did when I moved to this town was for utility, like just to make money and stuff. So I did that. I went and got the bike. I felt very alive. And while I was there, the first day it's Saturday, and then Sunday I came back. I did the packing and stuff and came back. So on Saturday, I I made something creative. I wasn't trying to, but I just kind of felt like it. I was like reading and I was going to go to sleep, but then I was like, hey, I'm going to record this little video and use the alphabet game as an example. Like I'm going to go through the alphabet and use each word to start creating things. Like for example, animated animals, um, aggravate animosity, whatever. Like go through the alphabet, and you could do it in whatever way. You could like allow other words to go in that don't just start with that letter or whatever, different things. And I made videos that totaled, I don't know, something like an hour or an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. Not exactly sure. It could have been more. That doesn't matter. There's multiple clips. So that was creative, and it was just being authentic, right? And being myself. And hopefully that helps. It gives other people permission to be themselves too. Okay. So that's just something that came from it. I also got more energy because I chose to do something that I wanted. And that road trip was fun too, whatever, yada, 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 right? So that's another example. So just the reason I brought up the 2009 thing, right? Okay. So soon after I went rock climbing, then there was like this seasonal layoff thing because it was, you could have, they gave me an option, work share or like seasonal layoff for 5 months. And it's like, well, I might as well take that because I'm going to get paid the same amount. But like, would you rather get, work a bit and get paid a bit, or not have to work at all and get paid half what you normally get? Like, it's going to be the same thing either way, but one is you don't have to do any work. So I chose that one. So I had these 5 months off from work for once in my life, right? Or whatever, like since after getting out of high school. So now I had time to explore and learn about other things like investing, and social media, internet things, and online marketing and different stuff. So that was cool. And so after I went back to work, after a little while, so in June 2010, I quit my surveying job. That was the first time that I quit. And it was a great moment because I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do something I believed in. I wanted it to align with my values, and do something I enjoy doing. And I wanted to inspire people. I didn't have a lot of clarity aside from that. Over time, it became a lot more clear. Okay, so after a while, so less than a year after that, I'd run out of my money and my credit, and I got evicted from where the place I was renting for 10 years. And my dad let me live with him. Now, there was first a little bit where I stayed with my brother and his mom, and she was cooking for us. And so that was my first experience of a creative haven, because the work I was doing with helping small businesses, usually it's local ones, with their social media to grow their business. I took that from what I was doing one-on-one with people and started to make it scalable, right? To write it out, make a book or a course. So somebody mentioned that where I was like a creative haven for me because they saw the stuff that I was publishing. Okay. And so after a while, then I got to live with my dad. He said I could stay with him as long as I wanted. And I felt truly loved. So then this was like a creative haven for me because I had a place to live and there was no pressure. And he let me be myself. He didn't force me to do something he expected. Like in the movie Dead Poets Society, which is why it resonates quite a lot, is because that father forces his son to go on a certain path, but the son has gifts and things and like what he wants to do, but he's not even allowed to do it, and he kills himself. That's why it resonates a lot, and it's a good example, right? So it teaches us a lesson about encouraging children and like supporting them in what they choose themselves. And and so even going chronologically, it fits. Because in 2013, I was exposed to an idea from Napoleon Hill, which he got from Andrew Carnegie. And it was about taking control of your own mind, right? And choosing your own life, right? Like your own destiny, and doing something about it, living it. and how. And I did that. I used it. I made $100,000 that year, which was the goal that I set. And I also decided how I would do it, right? And did that. So that's awesome. I noticed your show was about success stories. So that was a success story. Um, but the way that I did it still isn't the most aligned, right? It's just that that was the opportunity that came, and it was like, yeah, that will help me meet my goal, and I decided to do it, and that's how that happened. So it was through employment rather than through my own business. That's why I say it's not totally in alignment, but that's just the way that that happened, right? So yeah, the creative havens make a huge difference, right? A restorative environment for people to expand creatively, to come back to their self and to like creatively play and explore their gifts and see what emerges from it without putting pressure on it. So that's what I want to create, is these creative havens. And it changes the world because instead of people doing what they think they should do and what other people expect them to do and continuing to recreate the same status quo, instead people get to be themselves and bring something new into the world. And that's what we do, right? This is what we want to support people to be able to do.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your answer. So my last question is that what is one thing you want people listen to go away remembering about themselves?
Okay. Okay. So your true identity is very important. Um, Not to just identify with the human or like who you think you are, but to remember who you really are, which is an infinite creator. So that the consciousness, like we are a field of consciousness within which the universe that we experience, like what we think is real, exists. The universe that we experience is within a field of consciousness, which is what we are. Like another way to say it, like God is universal consciousness, and we are all individuated parts of that. Like, yeah, it's like an individuated version of it, so that God can experience itself through us, right? So remember that you're an infinite creator. You always existed. You always will. Yeah, and you just you're everything. Everything that you like. If you think things are separate from you, they're not separate, right? That's an illusion. So remember that you're one with everything. Anything you want, like you can achieve anything, anything that you want to experience, uh, you can have anything in your life. Like, don't make it separate. Don't put things on a pedestal or separate them from you. Just allow it to be normal and natural. It's part of you. So it's just healing that illusion, and that makes a huge difference. So just always go back to the identity, your infinite identity, and what you dream of, like what is beautiful and what could be possible, right? If anything is possible, and that success is assured, right? You cannot fail. What would you create, right? So use your imagination and download that, and then write it down and create that identity, right? Allow yourself to have it. So always step into that identity, right? Align with it, and then act from that place, right? Make your choices from the place of this identity, because unless you're acting from it and choosing in your actual life, then you're not in the identity, right? So do that, and the more that you do this, the more you'll grow.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your answer. So thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and coming in my show and giving your valuable time. So I am again very thankful to you for your time. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Thank you.